get yourself together, get your credit in place, and you will see, or the doors will be open to you where you can get funded. Now, the direction you want to go is key. What do I mean? Do you want to go long-term or you want to go short-term? Long-term meaning buying, fixing, and renting. Or buying, fixing, and selling, which they call flip. Those are very key because the way you fix a property that you are renting is different from the way you fix a property that you are selling. What do I mean, Kola? You fix a property that you are renting with materials that you know can withstand wear and tear. You fix a property that you want to flip, that you know people are looking for, and what the ARV is in that area. And I'm using terms. I'm going to explain all these terms I'm using step by step so that we can understand. Because I want to carry everybody along. I want the beginners to feel that they can do this. And yes, you can do it. You might be a beginner in real estate, but if you get your things in place and in order, you will get to the place that you want to be. You just have to jump. You have to start to learn. Learn with people that understand. Learn with knowledge. Learn with understanding. Learn and partnering with people. Learn by volunteering. You can volunteer your time for free and go do an intern with somebody and just helping them out and learn. You will get to the promised land. The promised land in terms of real estate investment. Now, we've talked about direction that you want to go, either long-term or short-term. It's as easy as this, renting or flipping. The next thing, when you have all that in place, the next thing that you want to do is, now, I'm ready to go. Location, location, location. It doesn't matter. It's from Lagos to Dubai. It's all about location. Real estate is all about location. I am not comparing, let me say, for those of us that live in Maryland, I'm not comparing Baltimore and Rockville or Potomac. No, that's not what I'm saying. When I say location, 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 I'm talking about what does that location provide? What does that location is going to give to you? What are they looking for in that location? How much renter is going for in that location? That is what I'm talking about. I'm not comparing apples and oranges. Now, I'm going to use a city as an example. The city that I'm focused on. I do all Maryland. I do international real estate investment as well. But I'm more focused. I started from Baltimore, and I'm not leaving Baltimore because Baltimore has been very fair to me. A lot of people are running away from Baltimore, but I'm running into Baltimore because I believe where there's need, there's money to be made, and where people need help. If you have an answer to a solution, you make profit. It's as easy as that. So that's why I'm focused in Baltimore, and I understand the market for some time. Location, location, location. Let me say that again, because this is where we get confused that, oh man, I can't even go get my rent over there. That's fine. If you can't go to that neighborhood, that's fine. But if you understand the neighborhood and you understand what a dollar is bringing for you or your dollar amount is bringing for you, you might want to have a different thought on how you want to approach it. Location, real estate is all about location. Either the property is close to a metro station, the kind of school that they have there, the kind of facilities that they have in that location. One thing that you realize is that even some parents, when they are choosing location with kids, they choose location not necessarily by what they want themselves, but because of the sake of their family, their kids, where they're going to be going to school at, they choose that location. Some don't have kids. Some want to be close to the metro station. Some want to be close to their working place, working environment. Some people just like the city life. Some people like the suburb life. So the amount that you qualify for or you have, or the kind of access that you have to funding will put you to the location that you can afford. Even if you can afford more than that, the potentials is what you're looking for. Let me go back now. We talked about credit, funding, knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. I said that 3 times because that's key. You decide on the direction you want to go, long-term or short-term. Location, location, location. When you find all that, contractors, that's another key area. The contractors that you'll be using, try and get a referral, see what they've done, get referrals, see reviews about them. What have they done in the past? What are they doing right now? Just try and get as a good contractor, because contractors is very key as well. That can really start to affect your investment. So getting a good contractor is key, all right? When you get that in place, now the design, this is where you turn the corner. Look, real estate investment is all about location. Remember we said so? You look for the work to make money now. The worst property, dilapidated property in an ARV that you know can sell well. That's the property you go for to fix so that you can match the comps. The comps is the same thing as ARV. ARV simply means after repair value. That's what you want to target. You look for the worst property in a good area that the ARV you can make money from. When I use the word good, I'm not comparing one city to another. I'm talking about the targeted city that you've targeted. One city that you're looking at, the area that you can afford. Remember, I'm taking you step by step. The city that you can afford, that you know for sure you have extra in case anything goes wrong, you can easily take care of it and you don't have any short pit or run into problems, okay? The last thing that you do, sell or rent. It's as easy as that, those steps. But you need knowledge, 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 knowledge. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. And this is just high levels so that everybody can understand this, everybody can get into it. If you're working and you're earning money, you have some kind of income, you can do this. Anybody can do this. We all can do this. And you're going to do it if you're interested in it. Now, let me talk about, I know you've heard that word ARV, after repair value. Credit is first, like I said. I could have put it in the other way around, but since there are new beginners here, credit is first. You get your credit right, which I believe most people are. They have good credit, which is fine. ARV is as important as knowledge as well. You have to understand the ARV, after repair value. And I want to key on that. I'm going to make it as easy as possible. And I know we're going to have questions. We already have, okay, 12. Okay, they're writing on there. We're going to have questions. Let me keep it simple as possible. Let's say, let me use $100,000. If the ARV is $100,000, I'm using something very simple. When you're buying the property to fix, you should not spend more than 70% of that $100,000. That is $70,000 minus the cost of repair. I'm going to take it slow. If you want, I'm using another example, $100,000. I'm a new beginner. I'm an investor. I have $100,000. I'm going to either auction or I'm buying from the bank or I'm buying from wholesaler or I'm buying from the bank. Have it in your mind. I'm not spending more than 70% of $100,000 ARV. The ARV means that is the amount houses in that similar house that you are buying is going for in that area. It's called comps too, comparables. That is the money. So you can't spend more than 70% minus repair cost. If the money that you're going to purchase, acquisition, we call it acquisition, is $70,000 minus the repair cost. If the repair cost is 40,000. I'm just putting a number. That means you are buying the property for 30,000. I want to say it again. If the repair cost is $60,000, that means you have to buy the property for $10,000. If the repair cost is $10,000, that means you can go up to $60,000 to acquire the property. As long as you're not passing 70% of the ARV, that is the total investment you are targeting. It could be plus and minus, and sometimes things goes wrong. Things goes wrong. You want to do extra, and things come up that you didn't expect. You tear the wall, things is running, but at least that will give you guideline. The 70% will give you guideline of what you are getting. Why did I say so? Let's say you buy a property for, like we said, $50,000. You use $20,000 to fix it. Okay, that is $70,000. That is your total investment. You sell the property for $100,000. $100,000. What you have to put in mind is that you have closing costs when you're selling the property. Agents will collect their money. Buyer's agent, seller's agent will collect their money. You pay recordation fee. You pay taxes. So just take another 7% out of that 100,000. You are left with what? 93,000. 93,000 minus 70,000, it's your profit. That's about 23. So your total investment right now, the market, what the market is calling for now is between 10 and 20%. Some deals, you can get more than 20%, super deals. If you're a pro, if you understand what you're doing, you could get. But in between that, it's your profit. I'm going to go back again because this is where people get confused. ARV, after repair value, if it's 100,000 in a neighborhood, your total cost of investment should not be more than 70,000, 70%, $70,000. That $70,000, you minus your repair cost out of that 70,000. At the end of the day, when you have your paper, you bought the property, you fix it, you pay everybody, investors, you pay settlement fee, everything. You can't do your target or your guideline should be that $70,000. Don't spend more than that so that you can make profit. Those are the property for flip if you want to resell the property. If you want to rent, you can use the same method as well. It's good if you have the same method so that you going into that property, day one, that you're renting that property, you have equity inside of it. And you can always go to the bank and refinance and get more money out if you do that way. And I don't want to confuse us. We're going to get into that. But if you are renting, there's a little bit more wiggle way, because now you're looking at long term and the property is going to appraise. Do we understand? Now, if you're going to ask me, caller, how do I calculate my ARV? That is a very good question. It's easy. This is what you do. And I'm going to use Baltimore for as a case study. If you go to a certain area in Baltimore and you look at the area, you pull your comps. Comps are normally pulled between half a mile or quarter of a mile. The closer to the property that you want to acquire, the better. You pull comps, pull multiple comps. You can pull about 5. 5 should be enough. Look, we are not pulling comps on the property that you have, the condition of the property that you are buying at the moment. You are putting comps on the where you see the property, how you're going to fix it. If you're going to add more bedrooms, if you're going to add more bathrooms, you're going to add a kitchen, you're going to finish the basement. But the key thing that is important is square footage, not whatever they configure it as right now, because they can configure a 2-bedroom, just a 2-bedroom, and you have space in the basement that you can match the other comps that has the same and similar square footage. Keep it simple. ARV, how to calculate the ARV. Look at the comps of where you want to be, where you want the property to be. Maybe 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. Maybe the property you are buying is just 2 bedroom or 1 bedroom and 1 bath. But what you want to do is 3 bedroom and 2 baths. So, but the same square footage. Pull comps of 3 bedrooms and 2 baths in that area. Half a mile is still okay. And I'm going to explain why. especially in Baltimore, because I'm starting, like I said, I'm doing this so that everybody can do this, everybody can get involved. Pull about 5 of them, property. That 5 property, pick one of them, each one of them. The sale, how much those properties sold for, okay? Divided by the square footage of that property. It's as easy. The number that you get is the number per square footage. Take a paper, do each property that way, all 5 of them. The average amount of that square footage, multiply it by your square footage of your own property. Remember, you're not multiplying by the rooms because you're going to raise the property. You're going to elevate, you're going to add more room. You're multiplying by the square footage that you have potential on. Multiply it, that's how you get your ARV, after repair value. Okay? Very key. A lot of people lose out of deals because of they don't understand the after repair value in that area. How can you do it? You pull comps, you check. I mean, your agent, since you're a beginner, maybe if you're doing 1 or 2 property, yes, your agent can pull comps for you. But remember, your agent is not an investor. I have 4 agents under me that I'm training, and I mentor them how to invest in property. Agents, they sell properties. I'm not saying some of them don't have the knowledge, they do. But the pulling comps, they can pull comps for you, or you can pull comps yourself and look at it. That's how you get your ARV, after repair value. Now, add all your numbers together and say, okay, well, this is how much I have to spend for this in this property. This is what I can get. And if you're still under that 70% or 70,000, let's use actual number, then you go for it and you sell in that neighborhood. Okay? It's as simple as that. Now, let me take us to a real life program. You know, there's this, I've talked about it. I know we're going to have questions and I'm going to answer. There's this thing going on the internet that's been blowing. People have been blowing up my phone. They're selling properties for $1 in Baltimore. They're doing this. Baltimore's been doing programs for a while. There's different programs in Baltimore. Are they selling the property for $1? Yes, they are, for people that are going to live in the property. But I'm going to be focusing on investors, okay? Because we are investors, and I'm not sure if anybody wants to live in. But if you want to, and you know somebody that wants to do, yeah, fine. But remember what I said: knowledge, 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 knowledge. Get knowledge, get education, get as much information as you can get. Keep getting information. Don't just rely on what you hear on the internet, or rely on people. Do research on your own if you really want to get this done. Knowledge is key. When you have all that money saved up, your credit is fine, you're ready to go. The next thing you want to do is knowledge. And getting knowledge, the quickest way to get knowledge, number 1, obviously, is to go to class and go pay for it. Number 2, you can volunteer with these investors and just work for them for free. Just tell them that you want to volunteer your time and, you know, help them out in some things, and you will get knowledge that way. But now let me take you to Baltimore City, and we'll probably go to other cities as well if you have the time. But I know this has been going on the internet, and I believe everybody can do this. There's nobody on this. There's nobody that can do it. As long as you have income, you can do this. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you something.
We have a question, but I think what you're about to show us might cover that. How do you pull comps yourself? I think the person might be referring to what you're about to show us.
Well, see, I have MLS. I pull it from MLS, and the way I just, because I have the knowledge, I can tell what prices and what amounts, since I'm familiar with the area. But to answer your question directly, I do MLS. Zelle will give you a limited comms, but MLS will give an accurate sales of the property in that area. So to answer, does that answer your question? MLS, we can pull comps from MLS. But remember, you're pulling comps on what you want the property to be. ARV, not the condition of the property. If you are flipping. Does that answer the person's question?
Does that answer your question, Oyebola, Oyeshola?
Yeah, I was just talking. Not quite because I don't know what MLS is, but I guess I can do the research. But that's fine. Yeah, thanks.
Multiple listening, but your agents too can do that for you. Like I said, if you just do only one and you're a starter, they can do that for your full comp in that neighborhood for you.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Are we good? We stay.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
So now I'm going to go into a real live investment, what is happening in Baltimore, because I've been getting a lot of questions and answers. I just wanted to show us that everybody can do that. I'm going to share my screen now. 1 second. Let me know if you can see my screen, let me know.
Yes, we can.
You can see my screen. All right. So this is the Baltimore City Department of Housing, Community and Development website I'm sharing with us. So here it's where you can find Baltimore City owned properties. Okay. So can you see my mouse here? If you want to learn more,
Yes.
okay, you can click on this. This tells you a whole lot of stuff. Remember what I said, knowledge. Read this on your own, do research on your own, call if you have to call, and make sure you get all the information that you want to get. They have open bid program, all of that. I'm not going to go into that. You can go to that on your own. Again, the website is Baltimore City Department of Housing and Community Development, okay? So scroll down, let's go to fixed pricing, which is for, well, investors is the first, and I will show us what I'm talking about. Click on fixed pricing. These prices are fixed already. So if you're ready to go, you fill out the form, and these houses are sold for $3,000 for investors, and they have different categories, which I'm going to show us. If you scroll down, they have phase 2, they have phase 1. Go through all of this, make sure you read this, get familiar with what they're talking about. So this is the chart for fixed pricing. They have bidding as well. They have all kind of programs. But this program has been hot. A lot of people have been talking about it. So the first one here is for profit developers, vacant building, 30,000. I'm showing us live. This is from their website. This is not something I created. Must be developed, certainly you have 12 months to develop it, get your occupancy and all of that. This will tell you everything that you need. 501c, non-profit, all of that fall into this $3,000 bracket. Now, the 501 non-profit, 50 or less employees, you can buy vacant building for $1,000, must be developed, same category, must be developed in 12 months. If there's a community that falls into that. Community land, $1, tenant trust, you must live in there and all that stuff, all that good stuff. All the stuff are listed online. This you must live in for 5 years after insurance. All of that, you can get all the information on your own. I'm not an expert on this. I don't work for the city. I'm sharing what I saw on the internet as well. For profit, if vacant lots, you can get it for $1,000. If you're looking for and if you wanted to get involved in that as well, get all the information as possible. Like I said, if you scroll down, I'm just going to be keeping scrolling down, and you can always try and look for this yourself. Now, if you determine what you want to do, what direction you want to do, click on apply, and it's going to take you, it's loading, let's be patient. It will take you to, and this is where I want to show us something. This is very key. Let me see if I can move this up. Let's move this up a little bit. Let me show something so that you can understand that this city is not going anywhere but up. I'm not saying Baltimore City is going to be like this city, but Baltimore City is never going to be the same. Let me show you guys something, you'll be surprised. Look at this screen I'm sharing to you. All these dots that you see in green are properties that is either being sold or being on auction or different programs that Baltimore City is doing. The one in the yellow are empty lands, if you want to buy land and all of that stuff. And I'm going to explain something to you guys now. This is very key. A lot of people make assumption. They don't understand the city. They go in there and lose their money. Baltimore City, it's a little bit different from any other city in the country from my experience. Now, look at this. This is the city. The city's triangle is Baltimore City. This is city. From here, you see where I'm builders, all this area, Catonsville, this is Baltimore County. It goes round. Pikesville, this is Baltimore County. This is Baltimore County. This is Baltimore County. This is Baltimore County. So the county kind of surround the city. It's Baltimore is a little bit unique. You have to understand what you're doing in order to invest in there. Now, you see all of that. Those are different programs. But I'm going to get out of this because I don't want us to get involved in other programs. Just wanted to do the fixed program. We have over 20,000 properties that is ready to either be fixed or be sold or empty land. Let me try and get off this screen. Okay, apply. Now I'm just going to go strictly on investor fixed pricing. Fixed pricing program. It's a little bit smaller. All right, it's going to come up in a minute. Takes time. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can make this wide. All right, so these properties that you're looking at, we have 444 properties. They are being sold for $3,000. You just have to get knowledge, understand what they're asking for, get your finances together, have experience to fix it. You have 12 months to complete the project. You can do it. Get information, get knowledge. Now, if you look at it, if you look at this side, is where most of them are concentrated at. Why is it that way? And I'm going to give us a tip about Baltimore City. If somebody comes to you and tells you that buy in zip code A to Z or zip code so and so, right in your mind, just that's a trigger for you to know that that person doesn't understand Baltimore. If that person is using zip code, you can use zip code if you want. But from my own knowledge now, like I said, I'm not an expert, but from my own knowledge, I do not use zip code in Baltimore City. I can't. Ask me why. Baltimore City is block by block. In the same zip code, houses can be sold for $500,000 and $10,000 in the same zip code. There are few places that, from my experience, that I can use zip code, and I'm going to tell you those few places. I'm showing you a live map of Baltimore City. Fells Point, you can use zip code. Canton, you can use zip code in those areas. Close to the harbor, you can use zip code where it may work. Flint, this area, Eastern, this area you can use, it may work for you. But every other area in the city, using zip code, it's a little bit challenging. Why do I say that? You have, when you identify your property, don't just sit down on the computer and do your research, which is good. That's the first thing you need to do. You have to go there yourself. Take a drive with somebody that understands the city. You might be driving one block. Before you know it, you enter another block. It's a different state, so to speak. It's a different environment. You'll be shocked. There's another area that you can, okay, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to scroll down. That's Pratt Street. Let me scroll down. Let me scroll down here. What I just said. Penn State is past Penn State. There's an area is called Bolton Hill in Baltimore. Bolton Hill in Baltimore, it's just like a street in Baltimore. There are like 3 streets in that area. Houses can go for $800,000, from $500,000 to $800,000. And the next 3 blocks, they're selling houses for $50,000. That's how important it's good for you to do your research. Research, 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 knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. So pretty much that's a brief of understanding of how if you want to invest in Baltimore City. I'm just using it Baltimore City because everybody can pretty much do that. But if you're doing other places, you want to go to DC, you want to go to other areas, other counties in Maryland, the most important thing, like I've said, your ARV is very important. Your location. What you're trying to do is very key. Those are very, very vital and important information that you need to know before even getting into it. And some people do joint. They kind of do joint. They come together, put money together, and do this together. But if you are doing it with someone, make sure that person, at least one person, has the knowledge, or you are seeking advice from somebody that has knowledge in terms to in order to invest in that. There are different things you can do, not just buying, holding, fixing, and flip. You can buy, hold, rent it out, and go back to the bank and cash out and do multiple properties that way. Those are different ways that you can invest in property. I will take some questions now. I'm not sure if I should close this screen. Okay, I wanted to remember I was talking about Bolton here. I found it here. It made it bigger. Let me give an example of what I'm talking about, that using zip code in Baltimore might be a little bit challenging. This is Bolton Hill, and Bolton Hill has Utah, has the Park Avenue Street. This 1, 2, 3, maybe third one is getting there. Houses in this area can be selling between 500 to 800,000. And when you move down a little bit here, if you move down to McCullough, move down a little bit here, then, as a matter of fact, I have a house here. I bought it when 2024, I bought it for $21,000 over here, $21,000. And houses here are selling for 800,000. So you got to be very careful. Drive down, see the neighborhood, feel it yourself before you make a move. Don't just say, oh man, the ARV here is comparable, or it's a good ARV and I'm buying this for less than 70% off. Baltimore City is a little bit different. You can do that outside. You can do that anywhere else where you can use the zip code. But in Baltimore City specifically, you got to be you have to get knowledge. Get a lot of knowledge into investing. This is another good area. So there are some pockets like that you can invest in, not and make your money. But these are all city-owned property that is ready to sell. So you can go to the website and get knowledge and get more understanding on it. I'm going to pause for a minute. If they have any question, I can stop sharing this.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Mali. That was very insightful. I've already seen a couple of questions in the chat, so let me see. Let me scroll back. Okay. How much time investment does this require on an average?
Which one? Are we talking about flip to, are we talking about buy to hold? Are we talking about long-term or short-term investment? Let me just put it this way. Depending on the magnitude of what you're doing and investment that you're doing, let's say you're doing an investment for 150,000 to 200,000, that shouldn't maximum with all, if you have to get your permits and all of that good stuff, it shouldn't take you more than 3 months, 90 days. If you're just doing a quicker fixer, that shouldn't take you more less than 30 days, you should be able to get that done. If you don't require permits. And that's one thing. Wally, can you mute?
Yeah, I'm going to mute.
Okay. So and that's what you want to find out as well. I don't think I touched on that. Permits. Make sure to get to talk to the county, go visit the county, make sure if you need permits for all these properties, acquire and get your permits. Make sure you are up to date and get all the required permits before you even start any fixing or any renovation. So it could take 30, some can even take 18 months if you're building from the scratch, building apartments and stuff like that. But if you're just doing a minor work, it shouldn't take you more than 30 days. If you're doing fixing to flip, we're talking about 3 months minimum.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Ms. Oyebola. There's another question here. Is there a list of permits needed based on the type of use?
Yes. User occupied, of course, we're not talking about commercial here. We are doing residential. Residential, they will tell you if you are touching plumbing, of course, you have to get your plumbing permit. If you're touching electrical, you have to get your electrical permit. If you're doing the building, you have to get your building permits, you have to get your rough-ins, you have to get your installation, you have to get all of that good stuff. They will tell you all of these things, depending on what you're touching, what you're going to, the magnitude of the job that you're going to do. You get all those permits. You require permits for that. There's some that doesn't require permits. If you're just doing tiling, just painting, or you're doing your roof, those are minor stuff that does not need permits. I guess if you, and getting a good contractor that has the knowledge and understanding of the area and the city by city, they are different. There's some city that does not require extensive permits. There's some that require you to get permits for everything that you do. And after that, they probably require you to get user occupancy before you can even move into the property. All those things are falls under the knowledge. I said you should get knowledge.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Okay. And someone else is asking, based on your experience, what areas or blocks should we not invest in Baltimore City?
Good question. I always say good question because when people come out like that, it's amazing. The area that you have confidence, that you are comfortable with. There's no, remember what I said. Where there's problem and you can find the solution, you make money. There's no billionaire on this earth that made money off solved problem. They are thinkers. They fix problems. They go to where the problem is and get it. If you have the answer, you make money. Where other people are running away from, you're running towards it. If you are comfortable to do it, you make more money. Where you can fix problem wisely, you're taking calculated risk. You're not taking the risk that you don't have any knowledge about. You make money. So I always think in numbers. I don't think, oh, which area should I fix it? Which area should I go? If the numbers work, I'm going in. I'm a numbers guy. It's all about the numbers. Does the number work? And am I comfortable in going to that neighborhood? I'm going in there to fix it. So to answer that question, you have to answer that question in terms of, do you feel comfortable going in there to do it? Where there's problem, there's money. Remember what I said in the beginning? I know there was not a lot of people here when I said it. Your learning capacity is your earning capacity. The more you know and the more they open up to you, the more money that you can make and the more you can gain from that knowledge or from that, what exactly you're doing. It might not even be real estate. It might be anything. If you have the knowledge and you have the answer to the solution, the rest is history. And I didn't say this before. When you're doing this, you're not going there thinking about money, but you have all your numbers corrected. You're thinking about fixing it and doing the right thing. Let me tell you something. You cannot cut corners in real estate. I'm going to tell you why. If you cut corners, it's going to come back and bite you. You can't cut corners. You have to do it right. Do it the right way because you might end up, remember, we're taking a calculated risk, but you might end up getting stuck with that property and not be able to sell it. What are you going to do at that time? You're going to rent it. And when you rent it, you own all those things that you've patched, or you say, oh, they won't find out. You're going to own, it's going to be yours, your problem to deal with in the future. So you do it the right way in the beginning so that whoever you're selling it for, you don't even have problem. You're not even supposed to even think like that. You don't even have problem and you don't own your own problem. Do it the right way. Remember, and one thing again, the way you fix a rental property may be different from the way you fix a buy and flip. It may be different. But do it the right way. Very important.
Yes, do it the right way. Where there's problem, there's money, and always do it the right way. Okay, there's another question here. Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I don't skip any. Okay, so for a house that I intend to hold and rent out, how do I make a sound decision based on potential rental income and the price I pay for the property?
Another good question. In my company, I came up with these three program options. Number one, I buy a certain amount of money. I renovate it. After ARV renovation, there's already equity in that property. It may not be much, but I don't have the intention of selling that property. I have the intention of holding it for 5 years. That is my calculation. In 5 years, every dime that's spent on that property, I'm going to recover it back in 5 years. I've done it hundreds of times in Baltimore City, and I've done it to so many investors. I earn it back in 5 years. Number one, that's my first option. Second option is similar to the first one, is buy properties and see let me go back. Something about, I'm using Baltimore now because I know Baltimore, you are the one putting value in those properties. These properties are not going anywhere but up because you are the one putting value into them, because you're configuring those property, you're fixing it to match the ARV in that neighborhood, whatever that amount is. Remember, we talked about how to calculate your ARV. So the second option, I buy, fix. When I'm ready to go, I already have equity in it, but I rent it out. Okay? That costs more money. But I rent it out in the intention that if anything, I change my mind in a year or 2 or 3, I can easily sell it. That's not 5-year program. It's just buy to hold. And the third one is buy, renovate, and just sell. Those ones, you have to be very, very aggressive in my finding, just to make sure I don't lose any money doing it. Because even with professionals, you can have surprises. And that's why you have to have like a backup, like a little cash flow somewhere that you can always deal with it, because time goes fast, money, interest, and all of that is, you have to calculate all that. And you have to know the season when you are doing the property. You can't, it's going to be difficult when you buy a property in July, June, July, you buy a property in August and you're finishing a day or a week before Thanksgiving. Nobody's buying a house a day or 2 before Thanksgiving. So you have to be very calculated. You don't want to keep it through the winter. Now you're paying the bills. You're paying electricity. You're paying water bill. All the way to February, when people start to pay taxes and get money back, when real estate starts to catch up again. So you have to be very calculating on when you're going in and you're coming out again, when you're finishing and all of that. That is a good thing. If you're doing rental, then you don't have to worry about that. Rental, you can always rent at any time. But for the renter too, I'll always tell my mentees, I won't use the word advice. Like I said, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not an expert in anything. I just have experience. I'm just disclaimer. So I'll tell my mentees that, look, even if you're renting, some people just go in and just paint over everything and just, let's just do it like that. No, you do the day one, you want to do it, at least the structure. What do I mean by the structure? Like the house has 1 bedroom, 1 or 2 or 3 bedrooms. You probably want to add 1 more bathroom, add the structure, finish the basement, just in case when you're ready to sell, then you don't have to do much. What you're doing at that time is just changing the appliances, changing the cabinets, and just refinishing and doing it nicely. Then you don't have to touch structure. And you've already made your money throughout the years on that property because you reconfigured it and made it more marketable because you are renting it out for a higher amount. Every neighborhood that we go in Baltimore, we always top the renter income in that area or higher. You know why? Because I understand the market and I understand what people are looking for. So I go in there not because of, I'm not going in there with the mentality of where I live. No, I'm going in there with the mentality of the people living around here. What are they looking for? How are they thinking? So when I go into that property, I'm looking for that property. I'm already seeing the future and what I want to do with that property. And in Baltimore, for instance, basement is key. You want to, if you have a high enough space in the basement, the height about, anything above 7 feet. If you put a bathroom down there, then you are competing with the highest renter in that neighborhood, whichever neighborhood you decide. And what is going to determine your neighborhood is what you can afford, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you so much. We're at 9 o'clock. There's one more question, but I think it was linked to what we just, do we have time for this? Let's see if we can, okay, let this be a yes or no question so that we don't keep people waiting. So the person asked, for example, if I pay $6,000 for a property doesn't make sense when the max potential rental income is $1,000 per month?
See, if you
And please, apologies, please, before you answer that. I know it's already 9 p.m. So please, if you just give us 5 more minutes and then we'll answer this question and wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for your
all right. So see, I with that kind of, I always like to buy, fix, and rent, so that I'm going in with number one, equity, and not just the renter residuals. So if you calculate it that way, the way you want to look at it is it, are you going to $150,000 cash? Are you going $150,000 mortgage? So you want to calculate the way you're going to get it. It's you want to calculate how much your mortgage is, how much your maintenance. You have to put money for aside for in case something happens. Tenants are going to call you. $150,000 is definitely putting you into Baltimore City, unless you buy. I don't even know if there's any condo around that's $150,000 other than Baltimore City. So, and those houses are very old. You know, you're going to be maintaining and all of that stuff. So the way you want to calculate it is how much is my mortgage? How much am I putting aside for maintenance and things like that? Because $1,000 seems a little bit smaller. We're looking at maybe 1,500 to 18 would be makes more sense if you put it that way. But you don't want to have a mortgage of $800 a month, and you're charging 1,000. You have what, $150 left. You have not calculated even the taxes. Now, if the water bill, you have to consider that, because now you can't take your name off water bill. Your name has to be, it's going to permanently be on the water bill in Baltimore City or anywhere you are, but you can add the tenant's name, but that doesn't mean they're going to pay. But those are the things that you want to consider. You want to consider what are your expenses. It is worth your $150,000. Can I put my $150,000 somewhere else and get more for my money that way? The way we calculate is 10% of whatever you're spending is what we think of return. You're getting back, even in flipping, 10 to 20% of your money spent.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Amale. I'm sure everyone has learned a lot. I put the links for 2 forms in the chat. One for our contact info form. If you'd like to join the WhatsApp group, join the ministry, receive emails and announcements. And the other one, a suggestion form. We are very open to taking suggestions for our future seminars. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Kola Omole, for agreeing to be our speaker today. You shared so many valuable insights. And to each and every person on the call tonight, thank you for calling in, especially those who called in early and who have stayed this late. We're very grateful. Dickness Remy sent her regards. She's currently away on a trip. But yes, she's here with us in spirit. So without further ado, I'm just going to wrap us up in prayer, and then that'll be it for tonight. We'll see you in May, the second Tuesday in May. Okay, Lord, we say thank you for tonight. Thank you for this awesome time that we've spent learning, oh God, about real estate investments. Thank you for the knowledge we've gained. Thank you for Mr. Kola Omole. Thank you for the wisdom, the knowledge that you've given him, and for his ability to just share with us tonight. Lord, we just pray that everything we've learned today, that we'll be able to put it to good use, and that when we meet again next month, that there'll be improvements in our lives, and that you continue to bless this ministry and all who are involved in it. Thank you for answering our prayers. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, there's the recording of the session is live on YouTube on the Jesus Women Ministries page on YouTube. So just go in there, type Jesus Women Ministries. And if you put in your email in the contact info form, the first form I shared, then you also get an email with all of that. Thank you all so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Sakura. Yes. Okay. Okay, bye-bye, everyone. Going to log off now. All right. Thank you, sir. Good night, everyone.